I'm gonna tell you, I've always wanted my own talk show, maybe called Sherri. I don't know. Because I love to have fun. I love people feeling good. When I tell you the battles, people don't understand. When we are in power, the battles we gotta fight that you will never know about. Never. To keep a show on the air.
Y'all, Wendy Williams didn't just host a talk show, she built a cultural moment. For years, she had her finger on the pulse of everybody's business. Before blogs went viral, before tea pages dominated timelines, Wendy was already in her purple chair saying what everyone else was scared to say. That wasn't luck, that was instinct. And even now, after everything she's faced personally and professionally, people still connect daytime drama with her name first. That kind of imprint doesn't fade easily. When Sherri Shepherd stepped into that 10 a.m. slot, it wasn't just a programming change. For a lot of viewers, it felt like the end of an era. Wendy's entrance music, the Hot Topics segment, the way she leaned into celebrity mess with that half smirk and raised eyebrow, it was a formula that worked. You didn't just watch for headlines, you watched for how Wendy was going to deliver them. Sherri came in with a totally different energy, more polished, more upbeat, less sharp around the edges. Some fans appreciated that softer approach. They liked the positivity, they liked the lighter tone. But others couldn't shake the comparison. It wasn't about whether Sherri was talented, it was about whether anyone could truly replicate what Wendy built from scratch. And that's a heavy shadow to step into. Now the quiet narrative floating around is that Wendy has been watching all of this from the sidelines, not necessarily rooting for anything to crumble, but definitely observing. Because when you spend over a decade crafting a brand, a voice, and a loyal audience, it's impossible not to feel protective over that space. That time slot wasn't just airtime, it was her territory. Daytime television is no joke. It's competitive. It's cutthroat in subtle ways. Ratings aren't just numbers, they're leverage. Buzz isn't just noise, it's survival. And cultural impact? That's what separates a temporary show from a legacy platform. Wendy didn't just report celebrity news, she influenced how celebrity news was talked about. That's a big difference. And here's the deeper layer. This conversation isn't really about Sherri versus Wendy, it's about legacy versus transition. When someone who reshaped a format steps away, whether voluntarily or not, the replacement always faces the same challenge, honoring what came before without being swallowed by it. That balance is hard to strike. Wendy's style was bold, unpredictable, sometimes controversial, but never boring. Even critics tuned in. Sherri's style leaned toward warmth and relatability. Neither approach is wrong, but audiences get attached to a feeling, and the Wendy era had a specific feeling that's hard to duplicate. So when people debate whether Sherri could ever fully replace Wendy, maybe that's the wrong framing. Maybe the real question is whether anyone can sit in a chair that was built around one personality and make it feel brand new. That's the challenge. At the end of the day, this isn't just about a 10 a.m. slot. It's about cultural ownership. It's about who defined an era. And it's about whether that era is truly over or just paused. Because if there's one thing history shows, it's that legacies like Wendy's don't just disappear quietly.
It's being reported, y'all, that things are finally looking up, y'all, for Wendy Williams. And they're saying the deciders are right. They're saying 2026 could be her biggest year yet. Now, they say just one day, honey, after the news broke that her daytime replacement, Sherri Shepherd, is being canceled after 4 seasons. It's being reported, y'all, MTO has learned that producers are actively, y'all, working on a plan to bring Wendy Williams back, y'all, to television.
Girl, Wendy may have kept it cute in public, but behind the scenes, please. That woman has thoughts, strategy, and a memory like an elephant. And now that Sherri's show has officially been canceled, Wendy isn't whispering anymore. She's been subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, hinting that what just happened wasn't shocking at all. In her mind, it was predictable, inevitable even. Because according to Wendy, daytime television is not just about being warm and likable. It's about presence. It's about authority. It's about walking into a studio and owning the air the second that camera light turns red. You don't just host, you command, you provoke. You create moments that trend before the show is even over. And that's the difference she keeps circling back to. Wendy built her brand on bold commentary, on leaning into stories other hosts might tiptoe around, on delivering headlines with a twist of personality that made you gasp and laugh at the same time. That "did she really just say that" energy wasn't accidental, it was curated, strategic, and addictive. Love her or not, people tuned in. Even critics watched. Even celebrities who claimed to dislike her still kept an eye on what she was saying. That's power in media. You don't have to be universally adored. You just have to be impossible to ignore. Wendy's subtle critique seems to be that Sherri softened the format too much. More smiles, more safe commentary, less edge. And while positivity absolutely has its place, daytime audiences have evolved. Social media already delivers polished celebrity updates 24/7. Viewers don't tune into talk shows just for headlines anymore. They tune in for personality, for perspective, for that spark that separates a recap from a moment. And when that spark feels dimmed, the audience notices. Ratings may not collapse overnight, but cultural buzz does. And in today's media landscape, buzz is currency. Now here's where it gets interesting. The cancellation created an opening, and not just any opening, the exact time slot Wendy once dominated. That's not just coincidence in people's minds, that's opportunity. And when opportunity aligns with legacy, it feels intentional. There's chatter that Wendy has been having quiet conversations behind the scenes, meetings, explorations, discussions about platforms beyond traditional daytime TV, streaming options, syndication tweaks, even digital-first formats that would allow her to speak more freely without the same network guardrails. Nothing confirmed publicly, of course, but in media, smoke usually means someone struck a match. The real question is whether Wendy sees this as her window. Because if you built something iconic and watched it continue without you, wouldn't you at least consider reclaiming it if the door reopened? Especially if you believe the successor didn't quite capture the same magic? But here's the other layer, timing. Wendy has been navigating serious personal and health challenges. A comeback isn't just about ratings. It's about readiness. It's about stamina. It's about whether she can sustain the energy that made her legendary in the first place. Nostalgia's powerful, but execution is everything. Still, the symbolism alone is loud. The cancellation happened, the comparisons reignited, Wendy's name started trending again, conversations about her legacy resurfaced. That doesn't feel accidental. Some fans say this is her redemption arc waiting to happen. Others wonder if the industry has shifted too much for a full return to look the same. Because media in 2025 isn't media in 2015. Audiences are quicker to critique. Social media amplifies every misstep. The line between bold and controversial is thinner than ever. But if there's one thing Wendy has never been afraid of, it's controversy. In fact, controversy was often the engine. She understood by conversation equals relevance, silence equals irrelevance, and she rarely allowed silence to settle around her name. So is this a comeback brewing, or is Wendy simply reminding the industry that the blueprint was hers first? Maybe it's both. Maybe this is less about reclaiming a chair and more about reasserting influence. One thing is certain, if Wendy does return to television in any format, it won't be quiet, it won't be timid, and it definitely won't be safe. She would come back knowing the spotlight is hotter than ever, and if she steps into it again, she'll be stepping in with intention. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about a canceled show. It's about legacy, it's about ownership, and it's about whether the queen of daytime drama is preparing to remind everyone exactly why she earned that title in the first place.
Okay, so Sherri Shepherd. Sherri.
Okay, so by now, everybody has heard the news. Sherri Shepherd's daytime show has officially been canceled. And baby, the reaction has been a mix of shock, confusion, and a whole lot of side eyes. Because let's be real, this wasn't some struggling one-season experiment. The show ran for 4 full seasons. That's not small in daytime television. And let's talk about the guest list for a second. Oprah, Michelle Obama, 50 Cent, major names, heavy hitters. That kind of lineup doesn't scream flop. Ratings weren't record-breaking, but they weren't disastrous either. Compared to other syndicated daytime programs in the same lane, Sherri was holding steady. So naturally, she felt secure. Insiders say she fully expected a 5th season and was even hoping to lock in multiple renewals to cement her place in the daytime world. Word on the street is that she had already started making adjustments behind the scenes, negotiating for a pay increase and requesting a lighter filming schedule so she could juggle acting roles and comedy projects. And typically, that's what you do when you feel comfortable, when you believe you're locked in. So when Debmar-Mercury decided to pull the plug, reports say Sherri was blindsided. And from the whispers circulating, the split wasn't exactly amicable. Now, let's break down the official statement. The company blamed the evolving daytime television landscape. They praised the show's creative momentum. They praised Sherri's talent. They emphasized that the decision wasn't a reflection of her abilities, and they even mentioned exploring opportunities for her on other platforms. But let's be honest, when executives start using polished phrases like evolving landscape, it usually signals bigger business shifts happening behind closed doors. Syndication economics, advertising revenue changes, audience migration to streaming. Those factors don't always show up clearly in public ratings reports, but they absolutely influence decisions. Still, the optics are what people are focusing on, and this is where Wendy Williams' name slides right back into the conversation. According to Wendy, Sherri wasn't selected because the network believed she was the next daytime titan. Wendy's view is that the network needed someone safe, upbeat, and brand-friendly to stabilize the slot while she was facing serious health challenges. That's her perspective, that it was about continuity and optics, not about replacing a legacy with equal firepower. Let's rewind for context. Before Wendy's health decline became prolonged, the show had rotating guest hosts. Sherri was one of them. Her guest appearances were well received, viewers appreciated her humor and warmth. And once Wendy was placed under guardianship and it became clear she wouldn't be returning in the near future, the network made a decisive move. Sherri would get her own show in that same time slot. But here's where things felt awkward to many longtime fans. Sherri announced her new talk show right there on the Wendy Williams set. Same studio environment, same audience base. The network didn't downplay the transition. It felt like a direct baton pass, but without the original runner standing there to hand it over. The social media accounts were rebranded, the time slot stayed the same, the format carried similarities. It didn't look like a gradual evolution, it looked like a swap. And perception matters. So fast forward to today, Sherri's show is gone too, and suddenly the narrative feels cyclical. Was it destiny? Was it business? Or was it simply the reality of how unstable daytime television has become? Daytime isn't what it used to be. Audiences consume celebrity news differently now. Clips go viral on social media faster than full episodes air. Viewers are less loyal to scheduled programming, and advertisers are more cautious about where they place dollars. So maybe this wasn't personal. Maybe it was structural. But when legacy is involved, it always feels personal. Wendy's shadow over that 10 a.m. slot is still long. Even after years away, people instinctively compare. That doesn't automatically mean Sherri failed. It just means the benchmark was unusually high. And here's the real twist. Both women can be talented, and the market can still shift under them. That's the unpredictable part of television. Right now, people are asking, was this the network correcting course, or simply reacting to changing economics? Because if there's one thing this situation proves, it's that daytime television isn't as stable as it once looked. And when a chair becomes symbolic, whoever sits in it inherits both opportunity and pressure. So what do you think? Was Sherri given a fair shot in a shifting industry? Or was she always going to be compared to a legacy that couldn't be duplicated? And with the slot now open, is this just business as usual, or the unexpected twist?
Starting in September, I am debuting my own talk show, Sherri! I am so excited because I am going to be joining the Debmar-Mercury family. That is the company that produces this show and several others that you love.
And this is where the whole situation started looking wild, because Sherri didn't just land a brand new show in a random slot. She stepped directly into the exact same 10 a.m. time slot that Wendy had dominated for more than a decade. That alone would have sparked conversation, but it didn't stop there. The network reportedly rebranded Wendy's official social media accounts. Yes, the actual Instagram and Twitter pages that Wendy built up over years, and transitioned those followers over to promote Sherri's show. Same digital audience, same platform reach, just a different host front and center. And you cannot tell longtime viewers that didn't feel deliberate. To fans, it didn't look like a fresh start. It looked like a transfer of assets. The time slot, the studio feel, the built-in audience, even the formatting felt familiar. When Sherri's show premiered, people immediately noticed the similarities. The entrance walk, the Hot Topic style segment breakdown, the conversational rhythm, the set layout. It felt like a softer remix of the Wendy Williams show, minus the iconic purple chair and that unmistakable "how you doin'" that became a cultural catchphrase all on its own. Now, from a business standpoint, networks often try to retain audience continuity. That's standard practice in television. But from a perception standpoint, it looked like Wendy's entire platform was being handed over in real time, and perception is powerful. Was it shocking that Wendy didn't feel great about that? Not at all. Before her health struggles became widely known, Wendy was known for her work ethic. She rarely missed tapings. She didn't take extended breaks. She showed up consistently and built loyalty through consistency. That 10 a.m. hour became synonymous with her personality. So watching that space continue without her, using many of the same structural elements, had to feel personal on some level. Then the situation grew even more layered. During interviews promoting her own show, Sherri made comments suggesting that Wendy was better off resting at home and being cared for given her health condition. Some viewers interpreted those remarks as genuine concern. Others heard a subtle undertone. The phrasing, the timing, the delivery, it didn't sit right with certain fans who felt Wendy deserved more sensitivity, considering how vulnerable her situation was. When someone is facing serious health challenges and legal guardianship issues, emotions are already high. So public commentary, even if well-intentioned, can easily be misread. And in this case, the audience was already primed to compare the two women. That's when the narrative shifted from network programming decision to something that felt more personal. It wasn't just about replacing a host. It started looking like a full rebrand of Wendy's empire while she was sidelined. Again, from a corporate lens, networks prioritize continuity and revenue. If a show has a built-in audience, executives try to maintain that audience. But viewers don't always interpret it that way. They interpret it emotionally. They see loyalty, legacy, ownership, and Wendy wasn't just any host. She had shaped that space into a signature space. So even if Sherri's intentions were neutral or professional, the optics created tension. Now, fast forward to Sherri's cancellation, and all of those old conversations are resurfacing. People are re-examining the transition. Was it rushed? Was it strategic? Was it handled with enough care? Or was it simply business moving forward in a difficult situation? The truth probably sits somewhere in the middle. Television is corporate, but talk shows are personal. That's the contradiction. And when legacy meets corporate restructuring, feelings get involved whether anyone intends them to or not. At that point, this stopped being just about ratings or time slots. It became about identity, about ownership of a space, about who built the foundation and who inherited it. And when you frame it like that, it's easy to see why emotions ran high. So now that the dust has settled, the real question isn't just who sat in the chair. It's whether that chair was ever meant to feel the same without the person who made it iconic in the first place.
She's not well. So there's just a lot going on in Wendy's life that this is where you need your friends, where you need your family. You need people who love you. So all I can do over here is pray.
According to Wendy, this tension never had to turn into a full-blown feud in the first place. She says she actually wanted a sit-down, woman to woman, grown and respectful, to clear the air and move forward without drama. In her version of events, she wasn't looking for smoke, she was looking for clarity. But instead of meeting her halfway, Wendy claims Sherri leaned into the storyline that Wendy was somehow jealous of her success. And that right there, Wendy says that's what flipped the switch from professional tension to something personal. Because once jealousy enters the chat, it changes the tone. It implies insecurity. It reframes the narrative. And Wendy, who built her brand on confidence and command, clearly did not appreciate that framing. In her mind, there was nothing to be jealous of. She created the blueprint. So the suggestion that she was bitter about someone stepping into her time slot, that didn't land well at all. Now that Sherri's show has been canceled, Wendy isn't tiptoeing around her feelings. She's openly calling it karma. She's suggesting that the way the transition was handled, the rebranding, the optics, the public commentary, didn't sit right with the universe. And now, according to Wendy, the results speak for themselves. From her perspective, this wasn't random. It wasn't shocking. It wasn't a sudden business shift. It was inevitable. That's the word being floated. And if Sherri is quietly hoping the network might revive the show on another platform or repackage it in some way, Wendy's camp is reportedly skeptical. They believe the chapter is closed. But here's the bigger, more layered conversation. Sherri didn't actually need to be Wendy 2.0. In fact, trying to echo Wendy's structure may have been the trap. When you inherit a time slot so strongly associated with one personality, you have two options: lean in or break away. Leaning in keeps familiarity. Breaking away risks alienating the existing audience. It's a tightrope. Wendy mastered unpredictability. Her show felt like anything could happen. A comic could trend. A celebrity could respond. A headline could explode. She blended gossip with humor, bluntness with entertainment, and just enough edge to make people lean forward. Even people who criticized her delivery still tuned in, because they wanted to see what she would say next. Sherri's approach was different, more polished, more affirming, more centered around positivity. And that works beautifully in certain formats. But daytime talk thrives on personality above all else. In today's media climate, celebrity news is everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, podcasts, headlines move in seconds. So a talk show has to offer more than information. It has to offer perspective. Wendy didn't just spill tea, she seasoned it. She added opinion, tone, and a sense of exclusivity. It felt like you were hearing it from someone who wasn't afraid of pushback. That's hard to duplicate. From a business standpoint, insiders say Sherri's show wasn't failing financially. It simply wasn't explosive. It held steady. It didn't hemorrhage money, but it also didn't generate the kind of cultural dominance the network experienced during Wendy's peak years. Executives reported wanted bold energy without chaos, attention-grabbing but controlled. That's a delicate formula. And playing it safe doesn't always trend. Now the whispers are getting louder. Industry chatter suggests producers are quietly exploring ways to bring Wendy back in some capacity. Maybe not the exact same format, maybe not even traditional daytime syndication, but conversations are allegedly happening. Nothing official, nothing confirmed, just movement behind the curtain. And that's what's fueling speculation, because timing matters. The cancellation, the renewed interest in Wendy, the nostalgia wave, it feels aligned. But there's also a reality check here. Media has changed, audiences are more sensitive. Social platforms amplify every misstep. The style that thrived a decade ago may land differently today. So if Wendy were to return, it would require recalibration, not reinvention, but awareness. So is Wendy right that nobody can duplicate what she did? In some ways, yes. Certain eras belong to specific personalities. But is it also possible that the network struggled to manage a transition fairly? That's a valid question too. Because replacing a legacy is never simple, and inheriting one is even harder. What's undeniable is this: the daytime throne still has Wendy's imprint all over it. Whether she returns or not, her era shaped the space. And as long as her name continues trending in conversations about that slot, the story isn't fully over. If she's plotting a return, even quietly, the industry is watching, and the audience, they're definitely listening.
My goal right now, then the priority is to get her back home. Wherever home is, not there. Which come go as she pleases.
Right here in New York, where I'm working, and you know what kind of stuff I want to do. As a matter of fact, we just met somebody very familiar with, well.
She wants to get back to work, and she should get back to work.
Right.
People
And
love
we
her.
miss you.
I get more calls in support of her than I've ever had for any client, ever.
Now, this is where the comeback rumors really start heating up. Word on the street is that Wendy could reportedly be released from her guardianship within the next 90 days. And if that actually happens, insiders claim the network isn't just casually watching, they're preparing, quietly, strategically, making sure that if she's cleared to return, there are no roadblocks in her way. Some even say the lane could be cleared completely for her, meaning no competition in that slot and no confusion about who owns it. There's also chatter that Wendy has already secured new accommodations in New York, allegedly getting herself positioned to begin filming again as soon as Sherri's show officially wraps in the fall. Nothing has been confirmed publicly, but the timing has people raising eyebrows. When housing moves, legal updates, and production whispers start lining up at the same time, fans don't ignore that. And here's where the twist really catches attention. The same upgrade Sherri was reportedly negotiating for, a bigger production budget, a lighter filming schedule, expanded staffing support, are now rumored to be back on the table, only this time potentially for Wendy. If that's true, it signals a shift in leverage. It suggests the network sees her return not just as nostalgic, but as financially and culturally strategic. Some insiders are even saying producers are thinking symbolically, bringing back the iconic purple chair, possibly redesigned to glide on stage to accommodate Wendy's mobility needs. That detail alone would send a message. It wouldn't just be set design, it would be acknowledgement, a subtle apology, a restoration of what viewers felt was taken too abruptly. Because whether people admit it or not, Wendy's exit didn't feel ceremonial. It felt sudden, clinical, corporate, and longtime fans never really got closure. If these rumors hold any weight, this wouldn't just be a comeback, it would be a reclaiming. And if all of that lines up the way insiders are hinting, then this wouldn't just be another talk show relaunch, it would be a full circle moment. Because let's be honest, Wendy's name still carries weight in daytime. Even during her absence, clips of her old Hot Topic segments still circulate online. People still reference her reactions, her catchphrases, her facial expressions. That kind of cultural imprint doesn't disappear just because a show goes off air. It lingers. What makes this situation even more layered is the emotional investment viewers have. Wendy wasn't just delivering celebrity gossip. She made the audience feel like they were in on something. Whether you agreed with her or not, you tuned in because she made commentary feel personal, unpredictable, and bold. That energy is hard to manufacture. Now imagine the optics of her walking or gliding back onto a stage with that purple chair waiting. The symbolism alone would trend before she even said a word. It would signal resilience, survival, a return after being counted out. But here's the reality check. A comeback also comes with pressure. Audiences aren't just going to want Wendy back. They're going to want peak Wendy, sharp, quick, fearless. And the media environment has shifted. Conversations around celebrity, privacy, and commentary are more sensitive now. The same boldness that once felt groundbreaking could now spark backlash within minutes. So the question becomes, does Wendy adapt her tone? Or does she double down on the formula that made her a household name? There's also the business side. Networks follow numbers. If executives believe her return would immediately spike ratings and advertiser interest, that changes negotiations. A bigger budget, more staff, accommodations for her health, those aren't favors, they're investments. Meanwhile, public sympathy is mixed. Some viewers feel Sherri did the best she could in nearly impossible circumstances and deserves respect for holding the slack down for 4 seasons. Others feel Wendy was prematurely sidelined and deserves her throne restored. Both perspectives can coexist. But what can't be denied is this: the conversation feels unfinished. Daytime talk hasn't produced another personality quite like Wendy since she left. And whether you loved her or critiqued her, she dominated the space in a way that felt unmistakable.
Now this is where the comeback rumors really start heating up. Word on the street is that Wendy could reportedly be released from her guardianship within the next 90 days. And if that actually happens, insiders claim the network isn't just casually watching, they're preparing,
quietly, strategically, making sure that if she's cleared to return, there are no roadblocks in her way. Some even say the lane could be cleared completely for her, meaning no competition in that slot and no confusion about who owns it. There's also chatter that Wendy has already secured new accommodations in New York, allegedly getting herself positioned to begin filming again as soon as Sherri's show officially wraps in the fall. Nothing has been confirmed publicly, but the timing has people raising eyebrows. When housing moves, legal updates, and production whispers start lining up at the same time, fans don't ignore that. And here's where the twist really catches attention. The same upgrade Sherri was reportedly negotiating for, a bigger production budget, a lighter filming schedule, expanded staffing support, are now rumored to be back on the table, only this time potentially for Mindy. If that's true, it signals a shift in leverage. It suggests the network sees her return not just nostalgic, but as financially and culturally strategic. Some insiders are even saying producers are thinking symbolically, bringing back the iconic purple chair, possibly redesigned to glide on stage to accommodate Wendy's mobility needs. That detail alone would send a message. It wouldn't just be set design, it would be acknowledgement, a subtle apology, a restoration of what viewers felt was taken too abruptly. Because whether people admit it or not, Wendy's exit didn't feel ceremonial. It felt sudden, clinical, corporate, and longtime fans never really got closure. If these rumors hold any weight, this wouldn't just be a comeback, it would be a reclaiming. And if all of that lines up the way insiders are hinting, then this wouldn't just be another talk show relaunch, it would be a full circle moment. Because let's be honest, Wendy's name still carries weight in daytime. Even during her absence, clips of her old Hot Topic segments still circulate online. People still reference her reactions, her catchphrases, her facial expressions. That kind of cultural imprint doesn't disappear just because a show goes off air. It lingers. What makes this situation even more layered is the emotional investment viewers have. Wendy wasn't just delivering celebrity gossip, she made the audience feel like they were in on something. Whether you agreed with her or not, you tuned in because she made commentary feel personal, unpredictable, and bold. That energy is hard to manufacture. Now imagine the optics of her walking or gliding back onto a stage with that purple chair waiting. The symbolism alone would trend before she even said a word. It would signal resilience, survival, a return after being counted out. But here's the reality check. A comeback also comes with pressure. Audiences aren't just going to want Wendy back. They're going to want peak Wendy, sharp, quick, fearless. And the media environment has shifted. Conversations around celebrity, privacy, and commentary are more sensitive now. The same boldness that once felt groundbreaking could now spark backlash within minutes. So the question becomes, does Wendy adapt her tone, or does she double down on the formula that made her a household name? There's also the business side. Networks follow numbers. If executives believe her return would immediately spike ratings and advertiser interest, that changes negotiations. A bigger budget, more staff, accommodations for her health, those aren't favors, they're investments. Meanwhile, public sympathy is mixed. Some viewers feel Sherri did the best she could in nearly impossible circumstances and deserves respect for holding the slot down for 4 seasons. Others feel Wendy was prematurely sidelined and deserves her throne restored. Both perspectives can coexist. But what can't be denied is this: the conversation feels unfinished. Daytime talk hasn't produced another personality quite like Wendy since she left, and whether you loved her or critiqued her, she dominated the space in a way that felt unmistakable. If she does return, it won't just be about reclaiming a time slot. It'll be about legacy, redemption, and proving she can still command a room in an era that's louder and faster than ever. And maybe that's why these rumors won't die down.
Because people aren't just asking if Wendy is coming back. They're asking if daytime is ready for her again. And here's where things get even more interesting. Because if Wendy really does return, it won't just shake up one time slot. It could shift the entire daytime landscape again. Think about it. When Wendy first launched her show nationally, she changed the tone of daytime TV. Before her, most hosts kept things polished, politically correct, and celebrity-friendly. Wendy blurred that line. She wasn't afraid to critique outfits, question relationships, or say what other hosts were thinking but wouldn't dare put on air. That edge became her signature. So if she comes back, the real impact won't just be ratings, it'll be influence. Other shows would feel the pressure immediately. Producers would start asking, do we need more bite, more personality, more risk? Because whether networks admit it or not, competition sharpens formats, and Wendy at full strength forces competition. But here's the delicate part. Her health journey has been very public. Her guardianship situation added another layer of complexity. A comeback wouldn't just be about television, it would also be about stability and strength. Viewers are protective now. They're not just curious, they're cautious. They want to see her thriving, not struggling. That means any return would have to be tightly structured. Shorter taping days, stronger production support, maybe even a slightly evolved format that plays to her strengths without overextending her. And then there's the audience factor. Nostalgia can create massive opening numbers. The first episode back would trend automatically, but sustaining momentum, that requires consistency. The magic of Wendy wasn't just shock value, it was rhythm, daily commentary, cultural timing, knowing exactly when to lean in and when to pivot. If she can recapture that rhythm, even in a modernized way, she could absolutely dominate again. If not, the risk is that expectations outpace reality. That's why this moment feels so pivotal. It's not just, is Wendy coming back? It's, what version of Wendy comes back? A softened, reflective Wendy, or the unapologetic queen of hot topics? Either way, one thing is undeniable. People are paying attention, and in television, attention is currency. So now we wait, because if the purple chair rolls out again, daytime won't just have a host returning, it'll have a headline. And here's the part nobody can ignore. If Wendy does come back, it won't just be about television, it'll be about redemption. Because over the last few years, Wendy's narrative hasn't been controlled by her. It's been controlled by court documents, headlines, health updates, and outside voices speaking on her behalf. For someone who built her career on being the one telling everybody else's story, that shift had to be jarring. A return to TV would mean reclaiming her own microphone, and that's powerful.
There is something symbolic about a woman who once dominated daytime losing everything publicly. Her show, her platform, her autonomy, and then potentially walking back into the same arena on her own terms. That's not just a comeback, that's a storyline. But make no mistake, the industry is watching closely. Networks don't move on sentiment alone, they move on projections. Advertisers will want reassurance, affiliates will want stability. There would likely be clauses, conditions, performance metrics. A comeback in today's environment isn't just about charisma, it's about risk management. And Wendy knows the business. She understands timing, she understands controversy, she understands how to turn one sharp sentence into a trending clip. If she returns, she won't return casually, she'll return strategically. The other factor? Public perception. There's a segment of the audience that feels protective over her now. They don't just want tea, they want wellness. They don't just want headlines, they want to see her healthy, clear, and strong. That changes the dynamic of the show. The tone may naturally evolve because the audience relationship has evolved. But let's be honest, if Wendy sits in that chair and opens with, "How you doin'?" the internet will explode. Clips will flood timelines. Think pieces will roll out within hours. Supporters and critics alike will tune in just to see what version of Wendy shows up. And maybe that's the real reason the rumors won't die. Because regardless of how messy, controversial, or complicated her exit was, Wendy Williams remains one of the most distinctive personalities daytime has ever seen. Sherri's run proved something important. Replacing a time slot is easy. Replacing an era is not. So now the stage feels set. If Wendy returns, it won't just be nostalgia. It'll be a test of relevance, resilience, and reinvention. And whether people are rooting for her or doubting her, one thing is certain: they'll be watching. And while a lot of people genuinely empathize with Sherri for losing her show, because let's be clear, 4 seasons in daytime television is not small. The louder conversation online isn't really about cancellation. It's about possibility. Possibility that Wendy might return. There's nostalgia attached to her name in a way that's hard to manufacture. When people think of modern daytime gossip talk, they think of Wendy first. The purple chair, the hot topics board, the way she would pause, squint, sip her tea, and say exactly what other hosts wouldn't dare to. That imprint is strong. And whether fans want to admit it or not, daytime hasn't quite felt the same since she left. That doesn't mean Sherri failed. It means Wendy created a lane so specific that it's difficult to replicate. Sherri leaned into positivity, warmth, and safer commentary. And for some viewers, that worked. For others, it felt like something was missing, that unpredictable spark. But here's where nuance matters. Some fans never connected with Sherri in that slot and feel Wendy deserves her throne back. They see the cancellation as proof that the original formula couldn't be replaced. On the flip side, others argue Sherri walked into nearly impossible circumstances, inheriting a time slot tied to someone else's legacy, under intense public scrutiny, and still managed to hold it down for 4 full seasons. That's not nothing.
Both of those perspectives can exist at the same time. The bigger question isn't about who deserved the slot more. It's about whether Wendy, if she returns, can deliver at the level people remember. Because nostalgia is powerful, but it can also inflate expectations. Viewers won't just want a comeback, they'll want prime-era Wendy. Sharp timing, cultural pulse, viral moments, that effortless mix of humor and boldness that made people tune in daily. And the media world has evolved. Audiences are quicker to react. Sponsors are more cautious.
social media amplifies everything instantly. So a return wouldn't just be about reclaiming a chair, it would be about navigating a new landscape with the same confidence. So now it comes down to this. If Wendy Williams stepped back into daytime TV tomorrow, would you tune in? Would you be there for episode 1? Because whether people are rooting for her or skeptical, one thing's for sure, the conversation would be loud. And you already know how she'd open it. How you doing?